Hi everyone, I'm Angie from Gamercrafting, and we're kicking off this YouTube channel with a serious case of bedhead and coffee strong enough to power the rocket to Mars. Hey everyone, this is the inaugural post, or the very first vlog, I guess you would say. I thought for a long while about what it would be, and I just decided to have it be Waltham Abbey because it just kind of lined up properly. So in this vlog I'm going to kind of talk to you about what kind of prep goes into preparing for a show, even a local one-day show. And I also ran around and talked to some of my favorite vendors. Unfortunately, I didn't get to talk to every vendor because I only realized that there was about 30 minutes left. And I had to just sprint around trying to get to everybody. So the interviews are really short, sort of 10 to 15 second things where I ask them their names, to share their names, their business names, and the favorite thing that they brought to Waltham Abbey this year. So let's get started, shall we?
Hello! Hey! Hi, this is Hannah with HeyJ Yarns.
HeyJ Yarns.
HeyJ. Right, so what is your favourite thing that you brought with you to Waltham Abbey? You can show us. Show us a thing.
Big, giant, big as your head skeins.
I was seeing these on Instagram.
Yeah,
and I wasn't sure where the yarn ended and like your arm
tattoos
started.
Oh yeah, that kind of works for that one, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. So what's the name of this colour?
It hasn't got a name, it's just Chunky Yarn Beast. That's just what I called it.
Chunky Yarn Beast. Alright, thanks Hannah!
Bye!
My name's Soraya, and my company is called Hilarity, and hand knitted and crocheted jewellery. I also do wire knitting kits, where you can make your own jewellery. Stitch markers.
Let's have a look at your wares here.
This is actually my 6th year at Waltham Abbey.
Your 6th year here? So you've been here since the beginning?
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
Yeah. And yeah, I love this show. I think
it's such a good
really
show.
Nice mix of exhibitors.
It really is. Let's have a look at stuff over here. Ooh, shiny.
It's knitted, yeah. So these are the kits that I sell. Yeah. You get all the things to make the necklace you get.
I'll get my, oh, you're doing it now?
Yeah!
Hi! I'm Louise, I'm from Sydney City, and I'm doing some weaving at the moment. There's lots of different textures and colours, and...
Let's get a close-up. Ooh, pretty. This is what makes me want to try weaving, guys.
So, pass my shuttle through, and comb it in. Keep going, just weave, weave, weave.
Yeah, and as you can see, Louise has a legit pretty stand full of lovely sparkly things.
Julie Hooked. Oh, Mr. Julie Hooked is currently going to come into the shop soon. It'll be really awkward. Favourite thing with me today is this Wuthering Heights brand new colourway.
Oh, I saw the Wuthering Heights on Instagram. It's perfect. Look at that. That's the perfect name. So legit. Wicked. Thanks, Verity.
I'm here at Wars with Ange from Gamercrafting, who's lovely. And my favourite thing that I brought with me today is my new bear cubby. Which is a nice little neat bear cubby. You take all your little needles, your little circ, interchangeable doodads, and you put all your notions in the end, and then you just fold it all up, put it in your bag, and away you go.
That's legit. Thanks, Jess.
Hi, I'm Marla. I have on Cat and Björk. We put cats on everything. Including sweaters.
Look at this tiny sweater. I love it. Yay!
I would like to point out at this point that I witnessed almost an epic Mortal Kombat style fight between the Wool Kitchen and Ann-Kettin Berg over what's better, steeking or backwards purling. It wasn't really, but I told them that I was going to dramatize it for the channel because they wouldn't let me film it.
Hello, I am Lola Johnson, and my business is Third World Yarns, and these are the favourite things that I've got today.
Alright, what are they called?
2 new colourways. One of them is called the Glowing Sky.
Ooh.
And this one is called Falling Skies.
I like it. I like it. Thanks, Lola. Here at the travel knitter stand, and Lola of Third Vault Yarns is going to do...
Well, I mean, I just
spent too much money. But yes, at the travel knitter stand, Larissa is the
Larissa is off
wonderful
camera.
behind it.
Larissa's over there.
Yeah, so these are my favourite things that I've just bought today, but also...
Ooh, look at that. That's tasty.
I know, exactly. This is Midnight Fireflies, which was dyed for Yarn Crawl last year. Yep. Look at this camel silk.
Camel silk. Let me get like a macro shot of the camel silk. Delicious.
Okay. Excuse the noises I'm making. And look at that.
Oh, look at that.
It's just gorgeous.
What was it you said a minute ago?
Oh yeah, it's a fade if I say it's a fade.
It's a fade if she
Just
says
gonna
it's a fade. You're gonna add that to your tagline. Okay, thank you Lola for the tour of Travel Knitter Stand.
I'm John from Easy. My favourite thing I bought today is blue, Surrey alpaca and silk.
Surrey alpaca and silk. Let's get a nice macro shot. Tasty. Look at that. That's gorgeous. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Marie. My business is Mint Me, and the favourite thing I bought today was this silk.
Yak
single.
silk. What's it called?
It's just called Yak Singles, and
Yak
doesn't have a
Singles.
name, but it's kind of my favourite.
Lovely. And what are you wearing today, Marie?
I'm wearing my enchanted Mesa, knitted in the luscious merino cashmere nylon.
And you finished it for Waltham Abbey.
I finished it especially.
And you look stunning. Thanks, Marie. Oh, Diana isn't here because she's one of the showrunners, but I just wanted to show you her super cool turny thing of all of her amazing shawls. This is a Perranporth. I've made one of these. She's got a few. This is from her 1 skein, 2 skein, 3 skein shawl collection. And it's really cool. And then down here, all the way down here, is a Mare Zion. And that was a collaboration that she and I had last summer. And as you can see, it's really cool.
Hi, we are Dragging Your Studio. I'm Sharon, this is Andrew. This is our self-striping yarn, all dyed by his fair hand.
Amazing. And look at these super cool self-striping yarns. Amazing. Do you have a favorite?
Flax.
Flax. Look at that. That's beautiful. And just so you know, they were my stand buddies. We were right next door, and we shared some chips, so we're all basically soul bonded now.
Hi, I'm Mike, and this is my favourite thing, Sarah.
She's my favorite thing too.
Yeah, she's my favourite thing on the stand. But also, I love everything this way. But most of all,
The monster floof.
I like to do this.
The monster floof. Excellent. And that's the sour candy monster floof. Thanks, Mike. Mike got me food today, so well done. Yeah. All right, I'm stopping.
And I will also be sharing everybody's links to their shops in the show notes down below the video, if you want to go and have a look around at the kind of stuff that they have. I kind of want to talk a little bit about what the day after a show is. It's pajamas, it's, you know, barely making it. I don't know how vendors with kids manage to do it, still get up on time and take their kids to school and everything. I'm just like, it doesn't help that I'm probably fighting something off, but yeah, it's just, it's exhaustion. Really, it's just so tired, and knowing that you still have to unload the car and bring all of the yarn back upstairs. That's different for different vendors, of course. Some people don't live on the 3rd floor of a flat that has no elevator, which is what makes it particularly arduous in our case. At least there's 2 of us though, so we can usually do it, but then it's counting everything back in and so on and so forth. And to be honest with you, I think the thing that I dislike the most about shows is how torn up my hands get. It's because they're already kind of vulnerable, I guess, from doing loads of dyeing before a show, because you're constantly messing about with acid water and dyes and scrubbing your hands and everything. So then you go to a show and then you just get like, I'm not gonna, well, it doesn't look so bad, right? It looks fine, really. Ooh, look at that autofocus. I'm super impressed with that. Yeah, so it doesn't look too bad, but it's the fact that your hands feel really like, maybe this isn't everyone. Maybe this is an Angie problem and not like a yarn show vendor's problem. I don't know. If you're a vendor watching this, leave me a comment, let me know. So, yeah, so that's the thing that bothers me, because then it's like, ugh, like, I can't, ugh. And your hands just feel swollen and painful, and you're like, oh, this sucks. I go through so much of this stuff, right? If you're a vendor watching this, this is good stuff. It's the Body Shop hemp stuff. Ooh, look, autofocus. Oh, I'm so pleased about that. That's so cool. Yay. It's the Body Shop hemp. This isn't like a promoted thing or anything. It's just, it's one of the like the thicker ones that seems to last a bit more during the day, even if you're constantly like washing your hands and stuff. But I go through just tons of this stuff. I've got like a tube of high-powered hand cream in like every drawer basically, and like in my pockets as well. I'm always walking around with some, because otherwise like my hands just end up like cracked and like just gross. I don't mean gross from an aesthetic perspective, let me be clear. I mean gross from I feel like my hands are like crippling into dust way. So I kind of wanted to talk a bit about like the day after the show, what happens when the show is done. So when the show is done, we come home. Luckily, Waltham Abbey is just up the road from where we live now, so we were home by about 5:30. Well, we're also quite good at taking things down very fast. I've had a few people say, how do you guys pack up so fast? Theater kid. And my friend Mary Jo, if you're watching this, you know, it's a theater kid thing. You learn how to strike sets, like, you still retain that X amount of years out of high school. When the hell did I graduate? 13 years ago? Wait, no, that's wrong. An amount of years ago. It's too early for math. I haven't had enough of this yet, clearly. So the day after a show, so basically we didn't have a long drive home last night, so we were home by 5:30 and we just kind of camped on the couch the rest of the night, just kind of chilling out, had some dinner, whatever. Obviously other vendors will have had drives home, and then they don't get home until, you know, 8, 9, whatever, so that's going to be a different experience. We've had that when we've driven home on a Sunday from shows. So the morning after, you know, you kind of drag yourself out of bed and you're kind of like evaluating like which muscles are feeling a bit weird. That may not be the case for vendors who are a bit more fit than me, but, you know, such as it is. So, you know, and it's, you know, you get out of bed and you grab your coffee and you start a podcast. Well, that's what I'm doing this time anyway, but usually if I wasn't filming a podcast, this is probably just a really elaborate form of procrastination, and I'll be honest with you. You know, I mean, I guess it works. Please watch it so that I have more excuses to procrastinate in the future when there's things that I don't want to do. So basically, in the morning after a show, you get out of bed and you drag all of the stuff back into the flat from the car. So that's the grid walls and X amount of kilos of yarn. We use those really big, bulky, like IKEA zipped bags, and we can fit about, I don't know, I haven't ever counted how much I can fit in there. Can fit a lot of yarn in there, and there's 6 bags. So 6 of those, and grids and all the other things that have to come back inside to get, you know, washed and stuff, you know, like the sheets that go behind the grid wall, and samples might need to be washed and blocked through, and making sure that you have everything set for the next show, which for us isn't for a good while, as we cut down a bit on shows this year. The next show that we have wait, I don't know if I can announce that yet. I might have to cut that. So the next show we have isn't for a little while yet, and but it's good just to make sure that you have everything, like the card machine, making sure it's all in the box, because I've definitely never had complete abject panic when I've discovered that I don't know where the card reader is, because it's definitely not in the box and it's definitely not in the show apron, and it's dragging everything back upstairs, and then it's opening all the bags and counting all of the yarn, counting every single skein, and you know which base it is, which colorway it is, so that I can get it all back into the shop inventory. And that is a long process. It's a long, boring process as well. It's also rife with just, I don't know, everything just looks messy when you're doing that, because there's bags and there's yarn everywhere. So that's probably what my afternoon, evening is going to look like after I finish some freelance work that needs doing today. So that's kind of what happens after a show, and then it's planning and planning and planning for the next show, or planning and planning. So some of the stuff that happens before a show with regards to planning, if it's a far away show, you're planning, how am I getting there? Are we driving? Is there a ferry? Am I flying? You're talking about accommodation. You're talking about any potential visas or tax forms that you need, and that's just kind of like on the more admin side of it. On the yarn dyeing side of it, you end up dyeing a lot more yarn than you would for, you know, a normal shop update, to make sure that you have enough at a show, so that people aren't disappointed if they come looking for something specific and you don't have any, which has happened, and I'm always super bummed about that. So it's dyeing a lot more yarn ahead of time, which sounds like no big deal, but in the fall and winter, it's difficult to get that stuff dry in time. I made a big decision this year. The big decision. It's not really a big decision, is it, Ange? I made a good decision to buy one of these giant, it's not giant, these big heated air 3 shelf heated air things, and it's amazing, but there's only so much you can fit in there. So when you're in sort of the, oh, we have a lot of stuff to get dyed, it's like you're kind of staring at it, willing it to dry faster. So yeah, so that's the case with that. That's a good coffee. So that's kind of some of the stuff that happens in the prep before a show, and then it's the twisting and the tagging and the labeling. That stuff takes a long time as well, especially if you have, you know, wrist issues like I do. Like I can already tell that I'm not going to really be able to do much knitting this week, because from carrying the grids and stuff, I got this like soreness and kind of tension. That's okay. I don't have any knitting or crochet mojo right now anyway, and sort of trying to figure out what I'm going to make next, other than a podcast. The tone of this podcast is going to be probably a little different than the other knitting podcasts you may listen to and or follow. I am a super slow knitter. I'm probably an average speed crocheter, but a super slow knitter. So I cannot be one of these podcasts that shows you new stuff that I've finished every week, or new stuff that I've cast on every week. I mean, I suppose I could cast on every week, but I would need a lot more needles. I can't be one of these podcasters that has new stuff to show you that's finished every week. That's a completely unrealistic expectation that would do nothing except stress me out, and I'd end up showing you really boring stuff. I finished a swatch this week, or I finished nothing this week, or here's the same pair of socks that I've been working on for 3 months but haven't really had the wherewithal to finish making. With that said, the knitting and more yarn, craft, crochet episodes of this podcast are going to be a bit more talking about trends, or it's going to be talking about colors or techniques, or I'm hoping to get some, you know, interviews with other small businesses to kind of share the love around and that kind of thing, and that's kind of what it's going to be more of. And also there's probably going to be a bit more out and about, so, you know, if I'm out and about and I see something interesting, maybe I'll take a little footage of it, and I'll try to remember not to have it in portrait like I did a few yesterday. Sorry about that. It's going to be a bit more out and about, a bit more kind of on the fly as I think of things. Maybe I'll show you a few minutes of me sitting on the couch working on something. That was me miming knitting with a cup of coffee in my hand. This is also, oh, I love this travel mug because it has a Lady Rainicorn sticker on it. It didn't come with that. I put it there. I can't sit at the computer desk with a normal cup of coffee because I am hella accident prone. It is no joke how accident prone I am. Okay, so that's kind of be the kind of vibe of this podcast. I mean, I will show you finished stuff when I have it, but it's not going to be every week or even every other week because that's unrealistic. And I would never be able to keep up with that with everything else that I have going on and with all the amazing games coming out this year. And that's the other thing, is I'm going to be doing streaming. I'm going to be streaming games live. I'm hoping to keep it like maybe every Saturday night or something. And probably 9-ish p.m. I'm still kind of trying to get my head around it. It might be an evolving thing as the channel sort of grows and I kind of figure out what's going to be sustainable for me. It might change, it may not. We'll have to see. I know consistency is better, but you'll be able to watch them on catch up if you're in a different time zone or if you're just not around. I will be hosting polls about which games I should be streaming over on Instagram stories. So if you have a suggestion of a game that you'd love to see me stream, then do pop in. I think the first streams are going to be kind of like relatively low-key. I'm thinking maybe Oregon Trail, and the people who get to go on the Oregon Trail with me will be the first ones into the chat. I'm thinking probably Enter the Gungeon, because that's quite a fun, like, low stakes game where I can just kind of chat with people as I try and fail to play that game. I was also thinking about taking you on a tour of my Stardew Valley farms. I was looking up some fun mods yesterday, so that might be something that I do as well. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for the live streaming part of the kind of video gaming content. If you have thoughts about that, then do let me know. And it's just going to be kind of a fun hangout, and it'll be like an Instagram live but a bit longer, and you get something interesting to look at other than just me yammering at the camera the whole time. That's kind of what the podcast vibe is going to be, and it's probably going to be pretty cash, pretty like this. Here's my bedhead and my enormous, ugly, like, fleece-lined thing. It's the warmest, comfiest thing I've ever owned. Like, we're talking tear it off my cold, dead body here. Except if my wife steals it, and then I feel bad, so I let her have it. But for the most part, this is mine forever. It's huge and hideous, and I love it. I found it in a charity shop for like £10. 2 years ago. It's amazing. I love it. It's perfect in every way. Also, I've dyed yarn in this like for 2 years, and there's not a single splodge of dye anywhere on it, which I don't know how that's happened. Maybe it just naturally repels dye. Maybe it's magic. Maybe I've inadvertently bought a magic coat. Maybe it's cursed me, and that would explain a lot of things. I'm just saying. So I was talking a bit about not having any knitting or crochet mojo. I think it's just January. Everybody I've been speaking to has just been January. So maybe it's that. I did 2 jumpers last year, sweaters for my American buddies. I did the Sunset Highway and I did the Vinterskov. I definitely want to do more garments this year, but it's deciding which ones. I think that's kind of where, and there's also some that I kind of like, but then there's an element of it that I dislike enough that I know I wouldn't wear it. So I was looking at making a Carbeth, because I know loads of people who made a Carbeth, and I was like, maybe I should make a Carbeth. Plus it's chunky, or I think it's DKL double. Either way, it knits up in a snap, which is good for super slow knitters like me. But I don't really like the tall neckline, not as like a design feature. Like, that's fine. I mean, I'm not trying to come for Kate Davies or anything. The design is lovely, obviously, but I don't particularly like having things around my neck. I get a bit claustrophobic. So I was thinking, I don't know, do I want to make a chunky weight something? Do I want to crochet a garment? I think maybe I do, but I don't really know what I want. I have a 2/3 finished campfire cardigan sitting in a bag somewhere in my closet that I never finished in super bright neons, but I sort of lost my enthusiasm for that project. Maybe I should just like finish it. I don't know. So I bought the northeasterly pattern because I waffled on a lot in that blog post about the blanket club, about how I was bound and determined to crochet my blanket this year, and then I saw a bunch of my friends making a northeasterly and it just sucked me in, and now I guess I'm doing that now. But I think I'm going to do mine in chunky weight so that hopefully when I'm done, it's just going to be a huge, mammoth, enormous blanket. That's what I'm hoping for. Also, I don't think that I can get through 200 grams of 4-ply in a month with other projects. That would be the only thing that I make all year. So that's kind of what I'm doing. So I also bought because she had a deal going on. She had kind of like a buy one get one thing. I also bought the Southeasterly add-on pack, which allows for like brioche and some colorwork options, or some just things that you can kind of mix it up a bit, and that kind of thing always appeals to me. So I bought Northeasterly and the add-on Southeasterly for my blanket club because I'm going to be making one as well. The pattern that I bought from Aroha Knits is called Venture, and it's inspired by sweet potatoes, but it looks kind of like knit-esque. Like it looks like giant knit stitches kind of. But I really like the look of that. But I also don't know if I'm going to make that this year or if that'll be like next year's hat. I don't know. What else do I have in here? I have a few hat patterns. I've made the Winterscov. I've made a beeswax hat, although my wife stole it, so maybe I should just make another one because obviously I'm never getting that one back. I am almost done with my fox wedding shawl. I forgot about that. I think I'm like 10 rows from the end. Maybe I should just do it. Just finish that. Maybe that will be what I do. Maybe I just finish the fox wedding shawl. I have some mitochondrial socks that I started as my Perth Festival of Yarn cast on back in September. I got past the cuff ribbing and then didn't do anything else on it because I don't know if it's because I don't usually knit socks top down, so it felt a bit strange and foreign, or it was just bad timing. I also have the Scintillation by Hunter Hammerson. I have a plan for that, but I haven't quite, it's not fully formed in my brain yet. But I would like to make a bunch of cute stars, but I need to have a reason, otherwise I'm just gonna make a bunch and then they'll just be sitting in a box somewhere. Ooh, maybe next year's festive wreath? I don't know. Skogafjol I've wanted to make for a long time. I was gonna make that in 2018 and then got massively distracted by the Winterskov. It was because I was thinking about casting on both of them, and the colors that I'd chosen for the Skogafjol, I went to go dye myself up a sweater quantity batch and I was out of the dye, so then I thought, well, I can't make it, and then I started the Winterskov and then carried on. So Skogafjol, yeah, I don't know. The pixelated pullover, there's nothing wrong with the pattern per se, but the way that the shoulders are fit do not fit me at all. I have quite broad shoulders, and that pattern I think is written for people who perhaps don't have quite so broad of shoulders, because it's not raglan, it's like a cap shoulder. It was a fun knit. I was working on it when I was at Perth, and I like how it's a bit random. Once you get into the colorwork portion of that, it's a bit kind of choose your own adventure with the way she has it set out. So that was fun, but it just didn't fit me right, so I just pulled it all out. I've made a few elemental hats. What else have I got? I don't know. Constellate hat, that's been on my list for a while because I have a lush skein of mint bee yarn that she gave me for my birthday back in August. And I know for sure that's what that skein is bound and determined to be. I just need to decide that hat is what I want to make. I've had the Specklin Pop shawl in my library for ages, but I just don't think I'm gonna make one. When I first saw it, I was like, it's amazing, I love it, and now I'm like, I don't think it's very me. Also, it would take me forever. You're committing a lot of knitting time resources. This is the thing when you are a slow knitter, is that you have to consider, that's something that you have to consider. You have to consider, how much time you're going to spend on something. I suppose maybe that decision is less of a big deal for people who knit faster, but slow knitters like me, you gotta think, do I want to spend the next 6 months on this? Do I love it that much? The Sunset Highway, I did love it that much. I zipped through the yoke. Well, for me, it felt like zipping. For other people, they'd probably be like, oh god, that took you ages. And then obviously the body of it took longer because you're like, oh, I'm just knitting forever. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know, I have a few things in my library that need making, but I'm not feeling super inspired. If something's super inspiring you, then do let me know. I need some inspiration. I was looking at the Wolf River sweater from Dandelion Girl Designs. It's kind of like a chunky weight lace thing. I do like it, but I'm just not sure what yarn I would use. But I'm also kind of, I don't know if I'm of a lace, you know? I feel like I'm not really a lacy type person. But maybe I'll make it and change my mind, I don't know. So that's everything that I'm not making. I'll do a different episode where I show you what I am making, because this was meant to be about Waltham Abbey. Waltham Abbey is a great show. It's a nice local show to us. I've already talked about it. You've seen some vendors and you've seen some stuff. So I'm gonna sign off, and I will edit this tomorrow and hopefully post it up, and hopefully somebody other than my mom will watch it. Hi, Mom. And probably Diana and Kate, who are the organizers. All right, everyone. Stay tuned. I will be announcing stream dates very soon if you want to come and hang out with me and watch me fail at playing video games. Bye.